Can BC really get out of a housing crisis by using policy and implementing taxes on people wanting to buy real estate? Well, the answer is absolutely not. And in today's video, I'm going to show you why. While the government has introduced many taxes over the years and housing policies to try and curb demand, they are missing a major piece of the story. And that real problem is just the absolute lack of housing supply in our communities. I've got a little bit of a confession for you. Today's video was inspired by an economics report from the British Columbia Real Estate Association showing us just how badly we have failed in this province when it comes to housing policy and for building more homes. And the major takeaway you're going to get from this is we have tried very hard as a province to curb demand, but prices continue to rise. And the only real solution is just to build more homes. If you're interested in learning about some of the facts and figures about this information and why we have been getting it wrong for so long, make sure you hang around to the end. I'm going to make sure you get everything you need so you fully understand what the problem is. Hey, I'm Darren, team leader of a top performing real estate team serving Surrey BC and the surrounding areas. You might have seen me featured in big media like on Global TV, CTV, or in various newsprints like Business in Vancouver or the Georgia Strait. I created this YouTube channel to help you learn all about the areas of White Rock and Surrey BC and to offer a trusted voice for everything going on with real estate in British Columbia. Our team has helped hundreds and hundreds of people just like you buy or sell a home. So if you find yourself looking for help, connect with us by checking out the video description below, where you'll also find tons of valuable information and downloads for both home buyers and sellers. Now, enjoy the video. So in the past decade, BC has introduced many policies and taxes to try and curb the demand on just simply purchasing homes. The picture on the screen is from the presentation I attended this morning, and you can see starting in 2016, we had a BC foreign buyers tax, followed by the elimination of capital gains exemptions for non-residents. Then the city of Vancouver introduced a 1% tax on vacant homes, followed by the BC speculation and vacancy tax in 2018. That tax was then expanded to other areas of Metro Vancouver in 2018, followed by a school tax on high valued properties, then an underused housing tax, a federal anti-flipping tax, foreign buyers ban, and provincial flipping tax. Holy smokes, that is throwing a lot at the wall. And this was all done to try and cool the red hot housing market, specifically in Metro Vancouver. But despite these policies and introduction of all of these taxes, home prices since 2010 have over doubled. Surrey BC, one of the many marketplaces that me and my real estate team work in, had a benchmark value of a detached home in 2010 of $532,700. Fast forward 13 years and that number almost triples to $1,604,400. Clearly, this is completely unsustainable to have prices continuing to grow at rates like that. So why doesn't taxing demand solve the problem? Well, there's kind of a lot at play here, so let me explain. First of all, housing is a need, not a luxury. People need to live in homes. It's one of the three basic necessities that all human beings share in terms of shelter. And taxing the ability to just simply buy those homes doesn't necessarily change the fact that people need them, nor does it really curb the demand. And that's also a demand that is constantly growing. According to the Fraser Institute, in 2022, BC added 3.5 new residents for every home that was built, further exacerbating the housing crisis. And according to BC housing market data, in 2023, there were 50,490 housing starts in BC and 33,244 in Metro Vancouver. But as of August of this year, 2024, housing starts have dropped by 30%. So our housing starts are actually on their way down, which is a pretty scary thing to think about. We're basically adding a ton of people to this province each and every year, and our construction is simply just not keeping up with the pace of demand. So the real solution is not curbing the demand for housing. The real solution is adding more supply for everybody who lives here to call home. According to CMHC, to restore affordability in British Columbia, BC needs to build 570,000 new homes by the end of this decade, which is double the current pace. In fact, to keep up with immigration alone, BC needs to build 43,000 new homes annually. Yet in 2024, we're on track to fall 30% short of that goal, according to the British Columbia Real Estate Association. With 217,500 new residents expected in British Columbia between 2023 and 2025 alone, building enough homes is absolutely critical. So you would think that just building more homes is a really simple solution. Let's just add more homes. Well, the problem is a lot of the policies that have been introduced put a large damper on being able to do that. Before jumping into that though, you've got construction costs increase rapidly rising and government fees adding to the burden. Now, I found this really interesting. The Urban Development Institute and Haven took a research approach to examining the actual fees and charges on new construction across our region and the province. Bottom line is that government fees and charges typically can contribute as much as 30% of an overall construction build. As reported in Western Investor in the fall, Metro Vancouver approved aggressive lifts to the development cost charges and the introduction of a new Parkland development cost charge with a targeted increase by as much as 73% from current levels. This seemingly caught even the federal housing minister off guard, who had been toiling away on determining the allocation of $4 billion to the government's Housing Accelerator Fund. The minister called out Metro Vancouver Regional District for the significant increase in DCCs that seemed directly at odds with the goals of the Housing Accelerator Fund aimed at promoting construction. That is a ton of overhead when building new homes that goes directly to the government. Plus, we're not even really talking much about interest rates and what they have done over the last few years. That plus really strict policies that make it less attractive for developers as well as the private industry to get into investing in real estate generally. Let me explain. One of the slides from BCREA talked about huge investment being needed, around $200 to $300 billion over the next 10 years plus for infrastructure. But you watching at home probably realize that that money's not coming from the government, that's private investment money. But that money isn't flowing into British Columbia quite as quickly as it used to be because of several policies that have been introduced. As examples, since 2010, basically without incurring a penalty, you cannot leave your property empty, you cannot sell it within 1 year of buying it, you cannot sell it to a non-resident, you cannot own it while earning 51% of your income outside of Canada, and you cannot use it as a short-term rental. Making the problem even worse, mom and pop investors, the ones that host rentals as landlords for tenants to occupy properties, they don't have a lot of interest in investing in real estate much more. And this is because of some of the overreaching policies really tipping the scales of power in favor of tenants over landlords. This includes many recent things over the last decade, like rent freezes or rental increases not keeping pace with the rate of inflation, lackluster damage deposit amounts, the nightmares involved with evicting a tenant, the removal and advantage of having what's called a fixed term tenancy agreement, and the most recent debacle, which was launched by the provincial government not so long ago, was increasing a landlord's notice to a tenant to basically occupy their own property to a period of 4 months or 3 months if they're selling, making it incredibly difficult to resell that property to somebody who would be interested in moving into it. So the truth is, we really need to focus on the root of the problem, and that is really twofold. The amount of people that are coming to British Columbia and the amount of homes that we are building. Not curbing the demand for something that anybody living here, regardless of where they're from, absolutely needs. The solution lies in encouraging investment in housing, reducing construction barriers, and eliminating all of the government, or at least a lot of the government overhead that goes into the construction of new properties. And also rethinking policies that drive both landlords and investors out of the housing market. This leaves me with a question, which I'd love for you to comment on below and let me know what your thought is. And that's really, what kind of future do we want for the BC housing market? Is that one where homes are built for everyone, or homes that are built just that simply the wealthy can afford? Let me know in the comments below what you think, and while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe for more videos on everything to do with Surrey BC, White Rock BC, and anything going on in the wild world of British Columbia real estate. But I'm going to leave you with these two thoughts. Number one is a stat from BCREA saying that we need to build about 570,000 homes annually, that we need to build 570,000 homes by 2030 to even restore affordability in our province. points. And the second is talking all about one of the most recent initiatives to take our municipalities by storm, called the Small Scale Multi-Unit Housing Initiative, which is explained in the video coming up next. So I hope you check it out. I know you'll enjoy it. Thanks for subscribing, thanks for watching, and we'll definitely look forward to seeing you on the next video. Cheers.